Hi there, my name is Lo. Welcome to my channel where I discuss everything between airbags and grocery bags. Welcome to my mountain of Marc Jacobs The Tote bags. In today's video I want to give you a 1-year review of my full collection. Full disclosure, I'm calling it 1-year review, but the 1-year review is basically for this bag, which is the Mini. Gonna have to think very carefully about the naming of these bags going through this video. But yeah, the Mini I've had for a little over a year now. All of the other bags, the small, the medium, and the large, which is hidden a little bit here in the back, those bags I've had for even longer. So I'm not going to do a full review video of all of these bags today. I already went through all of the details of this bag in another video, which has been very popular. I will link it down below. That will give you all of the insights about the dimensions and the weights and what fits and all of that stuff. Today's video is really meant to discuss how do I feel about the Marc Jacobs The Tote bags since I've had them for over a year. Sort of the good, the bad, and the ugly. I will, however, go with the sort of regular topics that I will also do on a review, like how has the size been working out for me. But I will just dive a lot more into the pros and the cons of these bags as I have experienced them over the last year or so. Before we get started, if you are new here, welcome, and also a very warm welcome to my returning viewers. If you find that this video is interesting or helpful in any way, please like it. And also I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I'm very close to getting 1,000 subscribers. More than ever, your subscription is making all of the difference for me. Now let's dive into the video. Let me just give a very brief introduction of the Marc Jacobs The Tote bag, because I think we already know this bag by now. They are leather bags, although they also come in fabric, and very interesting fabric variants nowadays, like denim. There's a bazillion different colors. When it comes to the Marc Jacobs The Tote bag, there is simply something for everyone. All of them will say The Tote bag Marc Jacobs on the front. What else is characteristic about these bags is the zipper on top, which most people absolutely love, including myself. There's always these top handles and then also this leather tab on the side, which on most of the variants you can use to stick the zipper to. In this case I kind of grabbed the wrong bag because the Mini is the only of the bunch that doesn't have that. Speaking of sizes, the bag comes in 5 different sizes, of which I have 4. The only one that I don't have is the Nano, because that's more of a bag charm than an actual bag. Although since the tiny bag trend, no bag can actually be called too small for being a bag. So this is the Mini in the color Argan Oil. I think this is the perfect style for people who want to have a grab and go bag and who do not pack too much. This is really a great bag for those of us like me who want to run out with pretty much only the essentials. This is one size up. This is the small in the color Cement. This is a great bag for those of us who like to carry just a little bit more than the essentials. If you have like a good pouch of makeup, for example, that you always have with you, then this is more of the size that you're looking for. Then here we have size medium in the color Twine. This is already like a lot bigger of a bag. This can make for a good work bag, especially if you have a smaller laptop, so up to approximately 13.3 inches. And then lastly we have the large in the color Noir, black. I don't think this color had any special name, and this is absolutely massive. If the medium is not big enough for you as a work bag, then this definitely is, because this fits the kitchen sink. Will probably also make for a very good travel bag, just looking at the capacity of this one. So usually I will start off talking about dimensions and weight. I already showed you the bags a little bit, so you have an idea of the dimensions and what these different bags are generally good for, in my opinion. If we look at the weight, all of the Marc Jacobs The Tote bags are pretty heavy because they are full leather bags. For the Mini and the small, I generally don't have a lot of issues. The bags are very versatile in terms of how you can wear them. So if you get tired of wearing it in your hand, you can also just use the strap and toss it over your shoulder or wear it crossbody. The risk and the heaviness really comes in the 2 biggest sizes, so in the medium and in the large. The medium is around 800 grams if I remember correctly, but once you start filling this baby up, it does become quite heavy. The large, on the other hand, is just already heavy in itself because this thing empty already weighs 1.5 kilograms. And given everything that you can put in this bag, this can really end up weighing a ton. So if you want to have the large Marc Jacobs The Tote bag, but you do not want to deal with all that weight, you might want to opt for one of the fabric options, which will evidently be a lot lighter. Then moving on to the interior of these bags, I'm just grabbing the small version now because this is easier to show and it's pretty representative for all of the bags. The Marc Jacobs The Tote bags are in principle just one big hole. There's not a lot of organization to the bag. The mini, the medium and the large do have this flap inside. On the large and the medium there's even a zippered compartment. On the small there is just slip pockets. On the mini there is no internal organization, but that is a pretty small bag, so I also don't really think it is warranted to have it. If you like to have bags that are pre-organized, then the Marc Jacobs tote bags are perhaps not the best choice for you, or you might want to combine them with a bag organizer. Personally, I generally don't use bag organizers unless it's really more to give structure to my bags or to protect them. I rotate in and out of my bag so much that I just work with loose pouches that contain my items. Those are generally easier to toss from one bag into another. That's all up to personal preference. As I already said, the Marc Jacobs The Tote bags do have these top zippers which are still running very smoothly, and I think it's great to have these as an option just to keep your stuff a lot more secure. Although there have been circumstances, I think particularly with this size for me, where I just carry it open or sort of half open. Sometimes I've worn this with a water bottle sticking out just for easy access. Having the zippered closure, but not necessarily being forced to use it. I think that's a really nice feature on all of these bags. Then to discuss the straps, you can already tell that all of these bags have a top handle. The mini, the small and the medium also come with a leather strap. Here's the one for the small. So the small and the medium actually have the same strap when it comes to length and width. The strap on the mini is just a bit narrower. I don't think that's much of an issue because the bag is also just smaller and lighter, and it sort of serves a more dainty strap in that sense. And I've really been enjoying this variety of being able to use both the top handle and the strap options on those which have these options. Of course, it's a little bit different when it comes to the large Marc Jacobs The Tote bag because it just has these longer handles, so you can wear it over the shoulder or crook the arm or in your hand. But there's no separate crossbody strap with this bag. It's a bit of a different style, but because this bag is quite heavy and gets even more heavy with all of the stuff you put in there, I'm quite happy to see that they put the longer, sturdier shoulder straps on this. What does give me a little bit of concern is with the medium, that, as I already said, it has the same strap as the small. And I've indicated this several times, but nobody has ever corroborated it or could relate to what I was saying. I think it would have been nicer if the medium would have just come with a bit of a thicker strap. And personally, I have always been concerned about whether this attachment for the strap, so this D-ring, if that would hold up with the weight, because the D-ring is attached to a fairly thin piece of leather if you're asking me, but nobody has ever told me that the strap broke off on their Marc Jacobs The Tote bag, so I'm guessing that is really in my head. Personally, I just like wearing this as a top handle or crook of the arm. I will, however, always have the strap with me in case it gets too heavy, so I have options. Then to discuss what fits and also perhaps a little bit of how I have been using these bags in my lifestyle. Starting off with the mini, as I already said, really great grab and go bag for those who do not carry a lot. Although it's the mini, it's a lot bigger than a lot of other mini bags that I have. So I have some bags which will only fit like my phone, my keys, a card holder, and some little bits and bobs, sunglasses if I get lucky. But those sorts of items for the mini Marc Jacobs The Tote bag is absolutely no problem. I also like carrying this because I can easily stuff a couple of foldable canvas totes in there if I go shopping. So this is a bag I will reach for quite often, especially over the weekends. Moving on to the small. For me personally, this is a bag that is a bit more challenging to incorporate in my lifestyle because I generally do not pack enough things to use the small. It might become a little bit different because now that I have a new job, I also need to pack some more lunch items, for example. So this might end up being a pretty good bag for work. What I have been using it for is conferencing, strangely enough. I know for a lot of the viewers that will not be something that they do on a regular basis, but I'm somebody who goes to conferences and professional meetups quite often. And unless I'm speaking, those are situations where I don't have to bring a laptop, but I like to be well prepared because I'm out for the day, so I'm definitely bringing a water bottle. I want to have something that's somewhat carefree because I might have to put down my bag on the floor, and I haven't really come to the wear and tear and the durability, but let's just say I am comfortable using my Marc Jacobs The Tote bags like that. Having the zipper is the perfect balance between security and like easy access. And on conferences, sometimes you get additional stuff. And yeah, those can be things like pens, notebooks, that kind of thing. So I always like having a little bit of extra space or carrying a foldable canvas tote with me in my bag, just in case that when I get some goodies, I can also conveniently carry them home. Then the medium, I think since I've had this, like out of all of the bags, well, perhaps I've used the mini the most, but then the medium definitely second. This has been a good work bag for me. Unfortunately, it is no longer because this fits a laptop up to about 13.3 inches, so it was perfect for my MacBook. But now my new laptop is a 14-inch, and unfortunately it doesn't really fit in this bag anymore unless I'm stretching up the leather. So although I have really enjoyed it, I'll need to see if and how I am going to use this in the future, because I just don't have that many occasions where I need to carry a bag that is this big but that doesn't fit a laptop. Like, I wouldn't really know what to put in it. Perhaps if I'm using it as a travel bag, more of like an overnight bag, it could still be helpful, but otherwise it's probably not going to be such a good fit anymore. So that is unfortunate, but I will most likely still keep this bag around, see how it works out, and you never know, the next laptop might be a smaller one again. And as a work bag, I have just really enjoyed using this. And then the large. This is just a bag that hasn't worked for my lifestyle very well, to be honest, because it is just so big and so heavy. Using it as a work bag hasn't been ideal. I might start using it as a work bag more now that I cannot use the medium for that anymore. I also used to go to work by train, and now I'm gonna go by car because I just always found this one to be a hassle in the train. Like, trains are busy and you need to sit this down on your lap, and yeah, it is just kind of big and getting in the way. Also, if you were at the office, like, where do you put down a bag this big? I really prefer not to put my bags on the ground, but then you just have this very obnoxious big bag sitting on your desk. I really do think this bag is beautiful, and yeah, it is obnoxious, but in a beautiful way. But overall, I wouldn't recommend this size unless you have a very good use case for it. So usually I would end up with pros and cons. But before we go to that, I also want to touch upon the durability of these items. If you follow me on YouTube or on Instagram, you probably already know that my bags are always in heavy rotation. I really want to get the best use of my collection by pretty much using everything that I have. But I have so many bags that also means that none of my individual bags get a lot of wear. Next to that, I am not one to throw around my bags, so I'm definitely not the best person to talk about wear and tear. But just sitting in storage, these items have been holding up well. Zippers still run smoothly, for example, and as at least I was hoping, all of these items still look brand new. What I can say is that I'm very comfortable taking these items out in the rain. These bags have been splashed upon, and that's really no issue. You can just just wipe it down, let it dry, and it's perfectly fine. So I'm thinking in terms of durability that these bags are still going to last me for a very long time to come. So then let's close off with the pros and cons and my recommendations regarding the Marc Jacobs The Tote bag. I think these bags have become so popular because of the practicality of them, and then also the durability or the quality of the materials. Not everybody likes the aesthetics of the Marc Jacobs The Tote bag, and that's of course perfectly fine, but I don't think there's a lot of people who are going to say that these are awful bags to use or just not worthwhile in terms of quality. So stepping back to the design, this is of course a bag that you see everywhere, especially in particular parts of the world, because it has become so popular. And I know it's a bit of a turn down for people, but if you're one of those people, then probably you are not watching this video, or you are only watching this video to support me, in which case, thank you. Personally, I'm not tired of the design of the Marc Jacobs The Tote bag. The only thing I didn't like all that much is that next to the Marc Jacobs The Tote bag, there's now this whole variety of other bags and items that have the naming on it. I thought it was fun for the tote bag. I think it was still kind of okay when they went with the bucket bag and the duffel and the sack, but now they're bringing out things like the wallet, and then also yesterday I saw the mini bag, and it was just this sort of uninspired design, which only feature is basically that it says the mini bag. So even though I still like the design of the tote bag and the fact that it has this naming on it, personally I'm just getting a little bit tired of how far Marc Jacobs is taking this, and that does have a little bit of impact on the tote bag as well, if I'm honest. But other pros, definitely the versatility of these bags. If you are going for the smaller sizes, that you have both the top handle and the shoulder strap option. The zipper, of course, is a great feature to have for security, but you don't need to use it if you don't want to. And perhaps the thing I like best about the Marc Jacobs The Tote bag, next to the quality of the leather and that it's so weatherproof and stuff, is probably how much you can fit in each of these individual bags. Just because it's this rectangular boxy shape, whatever you want to call it, it just has such enormous efficiency. When you start putting stuff in there, it doesn't taper in anywhere. And for the bigger sizes, it is less relevant. But if I look at how much even fits into the mini of the Marc Jacobs The Tote bag, like that is where it gets very impressive. For the volume that you are getting, you're just carrying around a relatively small bag. In terms of cons of what I've practically experienced for myself using these bags, the main thing I can think of is the weight, mostly on the bigger bags, although I do have to acknowledge that the smaller bags also get heavier. It's just easier to handle that because you start wearing the bags in different ways. But I would have to say that that is really the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, we're just being nitpicky about things that are just embedded in the design. Like, you cannot always open the zipper with one hand. So you will need to hold the leather with one hand and then pull the zipper with the other. So I don't want to give a whole plea of minor details that may have annoyed me on one or two occasions, when really there's not all that much to complain about. So then the last question is, would I still recommend you buy the Marc Jacobs The Tote bag? They have gone up in price, unfortunately, so I think for the amount that I've bought these ones, also in relatively neutral colors, it's gonna be difficult to get them, but they do still go on sale, and for like a 40 or 50% discount, even at the higher prices. I really still think they're worth it. Of course, assuming that you're not going with the hype, you're just looking for a practical bag that is well made. Something for every day, something that will hold a lot, or for the size of the bag, a lot. A year in, I'm still happy that I have them, and I'm still happy to use them. Although I have to admit that they lean more towards the practical side of my handbag collection. So I'm not really going out with a Marc Jacobs The Tote bag, think like, oh, this is such an elevation to my outfit today. For me, they're a little bit in the same range of my Longchamp bag. Like, I just need something practical now. Let me see what I can grab, and in that sense, yeah, I just mostly enjoy these bags in terms of their practicality and a little bit less in terms of their aesthetics, but I think that's perfectly fine. Some of the most beautiful bags that I have in my collection, in my personal opinion, are also some of the most unpractical or insecure bags to use. There's nothing wrong with just having your workhorses. And perhaps one final important lesson for all of the Marc Jacobs The Tote bags is really think about what size is a good match for you. Probably if you have the right size, you're not going to be all that disappointed with other features of this bag. So please keep that in mind if you're buying your first one or expanding your collection. I think I'll leave it at that for today. If you enjoyed this video or if it was helpful, please like it and consider subscribing to my channel. And remember, for now, there's a styling, a situation, and a taste for everything. So don't judge, wear whatever bag you like. Until next time, and as we would say in Dutch, doei!